Next time on a very spooky fine dining podcast, the season 1 finale, TGI Fridays the 13th. Oh, you betcha, pineapple's gonna hit the fan as Michael's son Juicy, or in this episode, Juice son Voorhees, goes on a murderous rampage and no one is safe. It gets real spooky, it gets real bloody, and not everyone's gonna make it to the end of the episode. Who will live, who will die? Listen to Fine Dining, the search for the most mediocre restaurant in America, break down a trip to TGI Fridays based on the atmosphere, the service, and the food, and try not to be scared to death. Hear the thrilling finale of Fine Dining, Wednesday, October 25th, wherever you get your podcasts.
It was a great idea for Ron DeSantis to launch his presidential bid on a Twitter space because Musk is a who can go with a rusty spoon. I'm Harriet Langley-Swindon, and this is NonCensored. Hello and welcome to NonCensored, the podcast that wraps up all the best bits from my very real daily radio show into one easy-to-digest highlights package. I'm joined as ever by my producer, Martin, and what a show we have for you this week. Hey, Martin?
Yes, indeed. Ishan barged in without permission for another apology watch, and we spoke to the country's
world's
best lawyer, Suella Braverman, about her struggles this week, and Harriet and I had a debate about Boris Johnson.
But as ever, there was so much we couldn't include. For example, we were going to play you clips of our wonderful interview with South Wales Police, but they said they never spoke to us, so I guess it never happened.
It definitely happened, though. I've got a recording here.
I'm afraid there's no way of knowing what's true here, Martin, and it's not our job as journalists to check. It's our job to put as many opinions as possible out there and let the listeners decide what to believe.
Is that why so many of our listeners
believe the vaccine is a plot? Yes. But if it wasn't, would the vaccine have better arguments? And if you have a better argument or any form of question, you can email us at noncensoredpodcast@gmail.com. We actually recorded next week's Time for Questions before this came out, so it's too late for that, but it's not our fault if you're tardy. Anyway, let's start with the world's greatest lawyer, Suella Braverman, who joined us earlier this week to explain why the woke blob has decided to come for her.
Now, Suella, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but it does seem to be that people are out to get you.
I'm glad you noticed this. I'm out to get the boats, okay? I'm out to get the boats, first of all, okay? And people are out to get me, personally. I don't think it's anything to do with the boats. I think it's jealousy. Yeah. I think it's jealousy. It's a bit like Cheryl Cole. Do you remember when Cheryl Cole got that tattoo on her back and everyone just suddenly didn't like her? And I thought, well, hold on a minute. This is jealousy. This is pure jealousy. You know, I woke up like this. Why should I keep apologising for how I woke up? Okay, obviously we want trolls to stop the boats because a troll would stop the boats, wouldn't it? If I was
a troll would, yes.
Exactly. The reason why the boats are coming is because I'm attracting them. I mean, let's be real. The migration figures came out, and yes, it is me. It's me. They're coming because of me. Now, what do? Do you deny my magnetism, or do you say, in spite of my magnetism, I'm going to do what I can to repel the boats? Good morning.
That's beautifully said. Yeah,
right.
Really good. I mean, that for me, it seems very clear that you were trying to stop the boats.
I was going so fast to stop the boats. And I said to the police officer, I can't stop. I'm stopping the boats, okay? And the police officer said, good for you. And he said, go faster. He said, go faster.
Right, so I just want to stop you there. So you mentioned a police officer. Are you talking about your speeding?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I wasn't going to bring it up. Since you mention it, yes, I am talking about my speeding. I went to stop the boats. And when I was told that I needed to be aware of speed, yes. I thought, well, I'm already aware of the speed of the boats that are coming here. So I don't need to do this course.
Right.
And that was fine. But obviously things get lost in translation, which is what happens when English isn't your first language, which is why we don't come here, because then, you know, the fewer boats that come here with people who don't speak English as a first language, the fewer things get lost in translation. Yes, another impact of the boats, things that I am saying are getting lost in translation.
Well, I think that explains it very well.
I have a question for you, and I don't mean it as antagonistic, but do you feel that perhaps you might be focusing a little too closely on the boats?
Oh.
Can I ask you a question? Do you think maybe you're not focusing enough on me focusing on the boats? Don't focus on the boats. Focus on me focusing on the boats that needs to be focused on, because the boats need to be stopped, Martin.
Right.
Okay. I think you need to take the focus of me focusing on the boats and put your focus on the boats that I am focusing on. Okay. The real issue here is the boats need to be stopped. And whilst you're asking me to focus on the boats that I'm not focusing on, and the boats that I am focusing on, the boats aren't stopping coming.
Right.
Beautifully put, Suella. Beautifully put.
I couldn't have been clearer.
Now, Suella, what do you say about these claims that you've asked civil servants to sort of arrange a private driving awareness course so that you couldn't do it with everyone else? Is that, again, are they trying to distract from the issue here, which is stopping the boats?
Well, first of all, the issue is stopping the boats, okay? And when I asked for a private speed awareness course so I could privately have a one-to-one session with someone to make them aware of the speed that the boats are coming, I was doing them a favour. Would you rather one-to-one tuition, or would you rather group tuition? Okay, exactly. Now, they declined that, which is fine. I would decline it too, because I think it's overwhelming my company. They were humble enough to say, we don't want a one-to-one course. And that was fine. And I think this has all been blown out of proportion. Can we please get back on topic and talk about the boats? I just want to stop the boats. In fact, I'm going to stop a boat. Just give me 2 seconds. All right, just stopped one. Carry on.
You just stopped it. Wow, that's wonderful.
Is that
on live?
Where are you? Where are you stopping them
I spend
from?
all day stopping boats. I go to Regent's Park. There was someone on a pedalo. There was Lilo's too.
All boats.
I'll put you for Lilo. If it floats, it goes.
Right.
If it floats, it's a boat.
If it floats, it's a boat. Yes, exactly. That's what I was going to say, but you interrupted me.
Okay.
I apologise. Now, Suella, I also want to bring to your attention that you've been accused of fresh ministerial code breaches over undisclosed links to Rwanda.
Okay, look, first of all, I want to stop the boats. Okay?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. There are links to Rwanda, okay, but what has that got to do with me stopping the boats? Okay, and there were no undisclosed links to Rwanda. I think I've been very clear about my links to Rwanda and my desire to stop the boats. Okay, so here is my link to Rwanda. We're going to stop the boats, and we're going to tell people to go to Rwanda by foot, not boat, because we want to stop the boats.
Like a sort of pilgrimage.
Well, why not?
Suella,
Yes,
That's nice.
Canterbury Tales, which is a great English thing.
I do have another question for you. And again, I hope you don't think it's too antagonistic, but this issue that you have with boats, is this something that you've always had? Did you have a bad experience with a boat as a child?
Okay, let me stop you there. First of all, it's impossible for you to be antagonistic. You're left wing. Okay?
Right.
You're just,
okay.
You speak like
yes,
sound like to me.
soft, crumpety voice,
you like
isn't it? Yeah.
But don't worry about that.
Sort of.
Secondly, let's stop the boats, okay? What happened to me as a child is that I had a wonderful childhood in this country, okay, that gave me everything, okay? This great Britain, the greatest of all the Britons. It is the greatest.
Yes.
Okay. This great country raised me to make sure that no one else can come to it, okay? And that's what happened, and that is what will continue to happen. So I will do my best to make sure, well, you can come to it, it's not on a boat. Okay, take a plane. Okay, helicopter. That plane is private jet. You are welcome to come in a private jet. By the way, I will praise you for. In the same way, I like one-to-one tuition for things. I also like one person on a plane. Fantastic.
So trains, planes, and automobiles, all right, but boats less so.
How hot is the message not getting through to people? I think it's quite clear. Stop the boats. Stop the boats. Okay, if it floats, it's a boat. Log. You know, you can get on a log and you kind of straddle it. No.
So stop the logs as well.
Right. You know something? I was in a resort the other day and there were people on a banana boat being dragged by I had to stop that right there. No, get off the boat. Okay. Stop the boats. I am a result of this country's education system. I'm a result of this country's education system, which should make everybody proud. It should make us proud. And this is the reason I don't want boats to come here anymore.
Thank you so much, Suella. I think the last thing I want to touch on is your wonderful speech at the National Conservative Conference last week, where you said that white people shouldn't feel ashamed. And I just wanted to say thank you for that.
Why would you feel ashamed? Oh, it wasn't you.
Exactly.
It wasn't you.
It wasn't me.
Did you do a racism today? Did you do a racism yesterday? Did you do one the day before yesterday? In fact, this could be a 7-hour call where we go through all of the days that happened before this one, and we think, have you done a racism? No, it wasn't you. There was a wonderful song by a wonderful entertainer called Shaggy. He said, it wasn't me, because it wasn't him. And I just want white people everywhere to know it wasn't you. It was not you. And it wasn't you because it happened centuries ago. Yes. Okay.
Centuries.
Are you 700 years old? Are you 700 years old?
No, I'm not. No, I'm young.
You're not. You're young. Okay. So it wasn't you. You shouldn't feel guilty at all. Okay. It is us who should feel guilty for making you feel guilty.
I suppose.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
Let's stop the boats and let's stop feeling guilty and let's stop the boats.
I suppose the irony is that if we'd stopped the boats that were involved in the slave trade, then we wouldn't have any of this problem right now.
Martin. Oh, what you saying? I'm not 7,000 years old, producer Martin.
Wait.
Okay, right.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me get my time machine.
I'm not saying just a point not about you, Suella. I've got some famous boats that I could name if you want to tell me whether they're... Got a list of boats.
Can I ask you a question, producer Martin?
Yes.
Have you been absorbed by the blob?
No, I've been nowhere near the blob. I live in Berkhamsted.
I think you've been absorbed by the civil servant wokey blob.
There's no blob out here, I'll tell you that much.
They've got you too. Suella, we must stop this call before the blob extends from Martin to you.
Well,
it's a pleasure, Harriet. It's a pleasure. We'll stop the boats, Harriet. Come, let's just stop the boats. That's all I want to do.
Now, as I said earlier, unlike the mainstream media, we don't tell you what to think. We just say things and let you decide what's true. For example, Boris Johnson. It would be very easy for us to tell you what we think.
It would be so easy.
But I think it's better for you to hear all sides of the argument and come to your own conclusion. So here's a clip from Tuesday's show where Martin and I debated the merits of this awful witch hunt against our greatest modern Prime Minister. So that's you, the listener, can make up your own minds. Now, people say there are 3 sides to every story. Your side, my side, and the truth. But my side is the truth, which means there's only 2 sides to every story. Now, today, me and Martin are going to do a deep dive in the latest witch hunt against former Prime Minister Boris Johnson.
Yes, well, I mean, here we are again. We thought it was all resigned to the past, but unfortunately new evidence has come out.
Evidence. And for the listener back home, that's me doing air quotes.
Yeah, they were pretty big. I don't think you were quite doing them right, but I think we get the point.
Evidence.
Now, of course, the first time around...
Evidence.
Yeah, no, they got it, I think. Pretty sure I could do some klaxon sound effects if you... Right, yeah, you did.
Yes, if you could, that would be great. Wait, one more time. Evidence.
Good. Right, well, Harriet, we all know what happened during the COVID lockdown. People were in the lowest points of their lives. Some could not spend time with their loved ones, even as they lay on their deathbeds. And the accusation is, of course, that Boris Johnson was, during this time, having group get-togethers at both 10 Downing Street and, of course, at his getaway retreat Chequers. Boris Johnson, of course, did initially deny that anything happened at all. And yet here we are with 17 different alleged breaches from his very own diaries, reported by the government lawyers that were preparing to defend him against the inquiry itself. So it's pretty damning evidence.
Well, yes, but Martin, people have moved on. So is it damning evidence? Once you move on from damning evidence, is it evidence anymore? Is it just a receipt in the bin?
Well,
you know,
they've kept the receipts. They've checked the receipts. You know, if you were walking out of a shop and the security guard, you know, the beepers went off, that's the sort of situation we're in. He's showing the receipt to the security guard. The security guard is looking in the bag.
Actually,
and
Martin,
he hasn't paid for his salmon.
Martin,
there's a couple of extra packets of salmon in there.
Your own analogy. Why? No, you've tripped yourself up with your own analogy, because that would only work if you'd immediately left the shop. But if you'd stolen something from the shop and then months later you'd come back to the shop, are they going to go, hang on, that's the salmon you bought 4 months ago and it's smelling quite a lot now? Would they? No, they wouldn't.
I think
they'd say, it's fine, we've moved on, let's look at the war in Ukraine.
I think it's more like they found the CCTV and they've seen that he's been leaving with a pack of salmon in his back pocket every day for the last year. That's a lot of salmon. And salmon...
That is a lot of salmon.
Harriet, I don't think I need to tell you, it's an expensive fish.
It is an expensive fish. There is a lot of salmon in your analogy. That I can't lie. But also, people are concerned about other things. They are concerned about the cost of living. They are concerned about what a man and a woman is. These are the things that people are concerned with, not whether there was some partying going on when everyone else had to sit around and weren't allowed to see their loved ones and people were dying. That's what people are concerned about.
I think when Rishi Sunak took over the position as Prime Minister, he promised that there would be a bit more honesty and integrity. And here we are, once again, back in the swamp with Shrek, basically. And he hasn't turned into a handsome prince yet. There isn't even a funny donkey.
Once again, Martin, you've tripped yourself up with your own analogy, because everyone knows that Boris Johnson is like the donkey in Shrek. He's very funny. He makes funny jokes. He was on Have I Got News For You several times for a reason. That man can make us laugh. So actually, being in a swamp with Boris Johnson would be a lot of laughs.
Okay, I do take that back. He does make the nation chuckle. But the point remains that he is under investigation from the police while he's trying to push through his own honours list, which includes some, fairly dubious characters in my mind too.
How are they dubious?
Paul Dacre.
No, he's Martin, he's very nice. He's very nice. He always brings such a good bottle of wine. Really expensive stuff that you know it must have taken him a while to find. So let's not be so judgmental, you know?
Right. Well, I mean, it's only a matter of time now until we do get a verdict back on this situation. Will Boris Johnson be resigned to the history books as a criminal?
Do you know who else was initially resigned as a criminal, Martin? Jesus. Wasn't he?
I don't...
Jesus was arrested. Yeah.
Well...
Yes, he was.
But...
And then what did he do?
Sort of...
He rose again, but no one was paying attention. But later on, a couple of years later, they read about it in the books.
I feel like we're going to get a lot of complaints.
I'm not saying Boris Johnson is Jesus. I'm not saying that.
Good,
I'm not an idiot. But I am saying there are some comparisons. It's very hard to ignore.
Right.
Very hard to ignore.
Long hair.
And also, would Jesus have partied during lockdown? We don't know. We know he turned water into wine once. That, to me, sounds, like something that people at the time would have sniffed their noses at.
The feeding of the 500
Makes you think, doesn't it?
However many
Makes
it was.
You think.
Yes. But I think the key difference between the two is that one was the saviour of the world, and the other.
Which one's that?
There'd be Jesus, the Son of God, I think.
Okay. Right.
Or even if you don't believe in God, generally regarded as pretty nice guy, top chap, messiah, or just
That's what they said.
good lad. Brought Lazarus back.
Well, like the Messiah was persecuted, so has been Boris Johnson. And this, to me, it just seems to me, what is really going on here? Oh, have new allegations come to light?
Yes.
Or are you just finding new allegations to put in the light?
That's...
You know?
They sound the same. It's things that have happened.
Very, very suspect.
That we've just discovered.
This is a witch hunt, Martin.
Well...
We wanted to get Boris Johnson on the show this week, but he's scared. He's scared. He's hiding.
Well, yeah, I'm not
He's lost and
denying
alone.
that, but he's also very much holding on to his story, which is that nothing unlawful happened, even though by his own reports, by his own team's reports, he was too busy necking the blue WKD and eating probably party rings with his pals while the world suffered.
Sorry, if we were to crack open some party
Yes?
rings and have a
Well,
witch
that sounds lovely.
we'd still be working.
Yes, but
we'd still be
there's a crucial
podcasting.
difference, Harriet, that you're forgetting.
If we suddenly got a stripper to come in and twirl
don't know
round the
about
corner and we threw some money at it,
Her.
it would be distracting,
her,
yes,
not it.
but we'd still be working. We'd still be working.
Yes, but...
If we got 5 little men in
Oh,
hats
dear.
to make a pyramid,
Okay.
we'd still
We'd
be
be
working.
blurring the line somewhat
Wouldn't
at
we?
that point. I think the point being, though,
But we'd
Harriet,
still be working.
that...
If I covered your face in cocaine, Martin,
Okay.
and started snorting all around it like a little pig, we'd still be working.
I'm not sure we would be working at that point. Also, a crucial difference, Harriet, that you are
No,
overlooking...
we would. I can
is that
multitask, as can Boris.
we would, if we did all of that, not be breaking COVID lockdown rules at this point. We would be breaking, of course, several other social and legal taboos, but at least we wouldn't, as the Prime Minister, be letting down the nation as they gave their greatest sacrifice.
Oh, letting down the nation.
So,
the nation don't know what's going on.
It's a legal crime, and it's a crime of it's a kick in the nuts for the rest of the country, really, isn't it?
Well, no, it isn't. Well, I think I've won the debate, and well done to me. You tried, Producer Martin. You gave some interesting points, but ultimately, you can't stand in the way of the truth. Finally, a story I don't really understand, to be honest, because it's about social media. I don't manage my own socials. That's all done by an intern at the radio station who puts out exactly what I tell her to, but gets fired if people get too angry.
Actually, I do it these days.
Why? What happened to the intern?
You fired her after that tweet about Nelson Mandela.
Oh, yes, that's right. Still, it wasn't me they were arguing with. It was the South African legal system. Anyway, with a social media apology watch, here's Ishan Akbar.
I'm so not sorry that it's made me feel sorry for the not apology I'm sorry about. So I'm sorry not sorry that the not nature of the sorry isn't sorry enough, or not.
This week's Apology Watch is a particularly interesting one. You may have heard the story of 18-year-old Bakari Bronzo Garrow, also known as Mizzy, on the social media app TikTok, who has been filming himself breaking into people's homes, stealing old ladies' dogs, and other such, quote-unquote, pranks. And the long arm of the law has caught up with young Mizzy and slapped a fine on the boy. And he appeared on Piers Morgan's show Talk TV in order to offer an apology. And you know what? Mizzy, to his credit, didn't. He said, hey, I'm just pranking. The laws are weak in the UK. I'm just having a nice time. Leave me alone. And this has been interesting to me because what Mizzy's done, in my opinion, is highlight that it's so much better to film yourself committing a crime than be caught, unbeknownst to you.
Right. So he was filming this and he was putting it on the TikTok.
Yes.
And that was so people could
laugh at it.
Laugh, watch, often comment negatively, saying, "Oh, I don't think you should be doing that," or other people saying, "Oh, stop clout chasing."
And all he did was walk into someone's house and say hello and go again.
Well, he sat on their sofa and made himself at home for a little while, and the husband. It was a very beautiful house.
It sounds like
nice
a bit of a
townhouse.
performance art piece. A little avant-garde, a little risque,
Yes.
of course.
Yes.
But, I mean, taking place in a venue that he does not have legal access to.
Yes.
Yeah, it's tricky because I'm always one to encourage the arts, especially in the youth. Although I do have mixed feelings about TikTok. I obviously keep my kids off the TikTok. They're a little too young. I don't think it's quite right. And to be honest, this idea of us all walking around filming ourselves all the time, I'm not sure I'm quite into it. You know?
I like it because I think ultimately it takes away from the state having to intervene in the crimes we all commit on a daily basis.
Oh, right.
You know?
Do you mean
you know that other
faux
social media
pas
star, Francis Bourgeois?
Yes,
does he
the
do?
train.
He runs
train
after
boy.
trains.
He loves trains. He just loves trains.
What I don't understand the TikTok thing. So you've got people going into people's houses, people running after trains.
Yes.
Very strange. And of course, it's rife with things like grooming gangs, isn't it? TikTok.
I don't think that's in my algorithm.
I don't think there's any evidence.
I mean, I haven't.
That's
haven't
my
seen
algorithm
it,
doesn't
but-
show that. It
Well,
depends.
that's what it's doing. And cults. There's cults in TikTok.
Well, in a way, I
Mhm.
suppose the train spotters are a type of cult,
Yeah, they're a
although a
type of
less
cult, aren't they?
destructive one. Yeah.
And
plane spotters.
non-organised religions.
Non-organised religions.
Mm.
Okay.
Sects, denominations, and the like. Yeah. Well, I mean, I suppose anyone can go on the TikTok, so there's nothing stopping you from filming yourself doing whatever you want. Although I have to say, once you break into someone's house, I don't think it's a prank anymore. I think it's
He didn't break
probably a
in.
crime.
The door was open. He just walked in. Look, I just think that what we should do going forward is all of us should have GoPros on our heads, a little camera that
Okay.
records our every interaction,
Right.
every petty crime,
Yes.
and every social faux pas.
I just think, though, it does set a dangerous precedent, doesn't it? If someone can get fined for walking in a house.
When the door's
Do you
open.
know what I mean?
Yeah, when the door's open.
Yeah, when the door's open.
You used to be able to keep the door open in this country.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
you did.
No,
You used to be able to leave the back door open
Yeah, all
and
night.
go out and say, hello, Lula May,
Yes.
pick up
What?
your flowers.
Wait a minute. Who's Lula May?
Lula May, in the backyard.
Well, yeah, perhaps more people would
With
leave
her
their doors
cow,
open.
And you'd say, hello, Lula May.
Yes.
Go about your business.
Yes.
Okay.
You wouldn't have to shut the back door.
I don't know what's happened to
Yes.
Harriet. She's having some kind of flashback. Well, maybe people would be more inclined to leave their doors open if there weren't TikTok pranksters walking in every 10 minutes. I'm sorry,
Well,
I've changed. I've gone full 180 on this. I was thinking freedom of expression, young lad having a laugh, making some kind of, subversive art. Actually, no, I don't want strangers in my house, thank you.
Martin, it would be nice for someone to turn up to your house.
We have all the guests we need, the fresh wind in the morning, the call of the bluebird in the evening, the,
Yes.
occasional roadworks in the afternoon.
Oh,
Right, I'm going to
Bluebird's
stop you there,
crazy.
producer Martin. It seems to me what he did, he should be fined for it. However, I do think we should ban all the TikToks.
Like China.
There are a lot of them.
Well, I know China gets a bad rap, but I think they're onto something there. Ban the TikTok.
What if there was a crime, a little petty crime you've committed? Have any of you committed a little petty crime? Should we admit this on non-censored?
What was this? A sort of is this an Apology Watch Dish the Dirt special?
Yes. In solidarity with Mizzy.
Say it sorted. Okay, I suppose. Last time, this morning I was cutting some bread for my toast, and instead of putting the crumbs into the the food waste bin, I just brushed them into the sink.
Goodness sake.
Wow.
True.
What about you, Harriet?
Well, I once kicked a woman in the kneecaps.
Oh, right. Why was that?
Oh, she's just, being very annoying.
Was it Lula
Taking
May?
a long time. No, it wasn't Lula May. Lula May speaks of a more simpler time.
Oh, right. Okay.
Is she a character from Harry Potter?
No, she's not a character from Harry Potter. She's an embodiment of rich apple pie being left out on the windowsill.
Okay. You kicked a woman in the kneecaps. Okay.
And, if we're going to start fining people for going in people's houses,
Yeah.
under this new law, would I get fined?
Yeah.
What,
I
for
don't
attacking
know.
someone? Yes, that is definitely. It's not a new law. I think.
See,
that's-
isn't that awful? Isn't that terrible? Isn't that terrible?
Interesting crimes
What,
you've both
assault?
committed there.
Oh,
Whoa!
massive
What about you,
assault.
Ishan? You haven't revealed your personal crime. See, this is the problem. You see, we'd have uploaded our videos. We'd have been facing some kind of public court-martial, and there you are without submitting your own evidence of your own.
I mean, for the last 7 years, I've told my insurance people that I have a steady office job and that I'm a communications advisor because
Ishan, aren't you worried that they listen to this podcast and they'll know?
I doubt Admiral would listen to this podcast. That's who my insurance is with.
Why not?
I think they're too busy insuring.
Well, listen, I think we should end this apology watch with you both saying sorry.
For what?
Why?
Well, for the things you've done. I don't need to say sorry because I've done nothing wrong. And if anything, that woman should apologise because she was really annoying.
I haven't done anything wrong.
I'm a little sorry about the crumbs, but they were just crumbs, so I don't think doesn't really require that much
I'm
of
just
an apology.
I'm just being financially prudent.
Okay, all right, thank you. Ban the TikToks.
Well, that's it for this week. Like, subscribe, tell your friends, and keep those questions coming to noncensoredpodcast@gmail.com. Thank you to Rosie Holt, Brendan Murphy, Ishan Akbar, Athena Kublenu, and I'm Harriet Langley-Swindon, and we'll be back next week with more